Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today we'll be talking a little bit about my current thoughts on the new season of The Clone Wars, but also what I think the future of Disney Plus is looking like at this point in time, based on this article here by Paul Tassi over at Forbes.com, and that is that I honestly believe that Disney Plus is in trouble because I don't think Paul is the only person who has felt this way about their Disney Plus subscription. Notice how he says, Clone Wars is making me boot up Disney Plus for the first time since December. So for the first time in about 2 months, Paul is finally actually going back to his subscription. Now, is this the case for everyone? No, I think that there's a lot of people that probably watch content every day or every week. I know that my wife and I, we have both been watching Boy Meets World, watch it all the way through to eventually watch Girl Meets World because I've always been in love with those characters ever since I was younger. And it's actually interesting because all of those characters from Boy Meets World, yeah, they still hold up. Now, is Girl Meets World nearly as good? No, but they still have the original characters and they have a lot of people that come in for special appearances. And I watch it literally just for those reasons. But my wife has actually never seen Girl Meets World. And so we're just watching these all to watch them eventually all together. But that all brings me to the point that I think Disney Plus has a lot of different members. They have some people that only watch these new shows, watch these exclusive shows like The Mandalorian, like Clone Wars, like the eventual, at some point they're coming in the future, I guess, Marvel TV shows. And then, of course, Mandalorian Season 2. And the maybe we'll be getting it in the next 2 years. Maybe. It depends, I guess, on Kathleen Kennedy, if she's going to be around or if she's going to just hate the script and get it rewritten until it's eventually not made anymore in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. But either way, I think that this is showing a major problem for the Disney Plus streaming service because I don't think they're going to be able to retain a lot of people. Because don't get me wrong, I love a lot of classic Disney stuff. I love a lot of the classic Disney movies, classic Disney TV shows. But I feel like a lot of those shows are available on other formats. For example, I feel like if I really loved a certain show, I might already own it on DVD or Blu-ray. Or I might be willing to access it through different means because obviously we live in a world connected by the internet where you can access almost any content at any time and not have to go through Disney Plus. Not to mention, there's a lot of people, a lot of members of Disney Plus who have the subscription for free because they are members of Verizon. And there's a big question mark next to that. Are they, Disney, going to make a deal with Verizon to extend that out another year? Are they going to say, ooh, we're going to lose a lot of people? Are they going to try and maybe put a survey out through Verizon and say, ooh, how many of you are planning to keep your Disney Plus service after it is no longer free? And if the number doesn't look good, will they be willing to offer it for free? It's kind of similar to how I have T-Mobile right now, and one of the things that has kept me on T-Mobile is the fact that they offer MLB.TV every single year, and that is a pretty damn good value when you think about how much that costs on its own. For it to be included free with a service that is already pretty decently priced, it is something that will keep me on, even though the service is not nearly as good as other providers, maybe like Verizon or AT&T in my area. But it's things like that that I think Disney is going to eventually have to start to play around with because there's going to be a huge subscriber base that I think they're going to lose a good chunk of after that free subscription releases. The other major problem, though, and the reason why they're going to lose a lot of people is because at least at this point in time, they don't have consistent new content that is keeping people on. Yes, they are having a lot of content that's geared towards kids, and I think that is the only thing that's really keeping Disney Plus afloat at this point. Are the parents that are getting Disney Plus only so that they can just throw on a random Disney or random Pixar film for their kids to watch over and over and over again? And yeah, that might make up a decent chunk of their subscriber base, but is that enough? Is that enough for them to be able to compete with the likes of Netflix that seemed almost to be releasing new series or second seasons of new series? Obviously, because Netflix has been in the game for so long, they've been able to build up all of these different series and all of these different fandoms. Disney Plus doesn't have that yet. So obviously one could argue, well, they're just getting started and eventually they're going to get to that point. But as far as it being such a giant service, right? As far as it being such a giant company in Disney and not a startup like Netflix was, it seems to me that Disney should have had a lot more shows to go because think about it. The only real big show that Disney had at launch, or at least close to launch, was The Mandalorian. And then The Mandalorian ended and a lot of people ended up just ending their subscriptions because they said, okay, I don't have no need for the service anymore. I might get it back for when Clone Wars Season 7 comes around, or I might get it back for when the Marvel shows happen. But because they don't have consistent new content for everybody, right? Obviously, you could talk about, well, they technically have had, exclusive movies like Lady and the Tramp, and, oh, they've technically had exclusive titles like the High School Musical show, but in all honesty, who is that really appealing to? Are teenagers honestly going to go out of their way to say, Mama, please let me have my Disney Plus subscription so I can watch this show that features none of the original characters from High School Musical? I mean, seriously, like, is that the selling point that they think that they have at this point? And as this is coming from someone that has enjoyed things like The Mandalorian. Overall, as an entire season, The Mandalorian could have been a lot better. Again, I like to keep myself grounded on that show. There were some amazing episodes of The Mandalorian, but there were also some really bad episodes too. And after all the money they poured into it, and after all the time they put into promoting that show, and the fact that season 2 is already underway, they really got to start to tighten things up a little bit. They got to tighten the ship. And that's what brings me to Clone Wars. Clone Wars, so far, has been fantastic. But of course it has. For those that are not aware, these episodes that we're getting right now, at least like the first, 8 episodes or so, are all from the original series. Meaning that these episodes were already written, in some cases already, voice recorded, and in some ways, even with the digital animation, were already done like somewhat and have been available for a long time in some capacity. And they've made some changes to them. Like obviously, you can check on other channels like Geeks and Gamers where they talk about how they took off one of the under Kathleen Kennedy's regime. It looks like they decided to take out one scene where it seemed to show Padme being shown on the side of a ship, as almost how a lot of times sailors would have ladies on the side of their ship. So we gotta take that off because we're in a different era now. We can't have that, even though these are obviously soldiers at war, and that's something that they absolutely would do, just covering up something that was a part of the original series, which to me is kind of just, it doesn't really make that much of a difference because it doesn't change a whole lot of the story. But of course, these new episodes have been fantastic because these were still under the George Lucas regime. These are episodes that were written under both George Lucas and also Dave Filoni. So you had them tag teaming on this series. You had creative control by George Lucas when these episodes were written, when these episodes were created. So the question that I have is, okay, how long is it going to remain this good? The introduction of the Bad Batch, freaking amazing. I love the fact that you have these clones that have different abilities, that have different things because they just weren't quite made right. Again, that's why they're called the Bad Batch. And I'm loving that they've been in the last couple of episodes. But is there going to be a clear line of demarcation where you finally have the Disney Plus version, when you finally have the Disney Run episodes, when you finally have the Kathleen Kennedy influenced episodes, even though so far, if you've actually looked to the credits of Clone Wars, Kathleen Kennedy is not listed as a producer, at least after the first and second episode that I could see. So that's the question that I have. Clone Wars Season 7 has been fantastic so far, but we kind of knew that the beginning of that series was going to be fantastic because that was from the old days. That was from the previous era. That was the episodes that they had already started to make before the show got canceled, right? And remember, it was not any network that canceled them, it was Disney. Remember that when Disney took over, one of the first things they did was not only piss off the EU community by decanonizing, and rather making officially decanonizing so many stories and putting them in the Legends category and starting over with new canon and taking and borrowing things from the EU and just pissing off a lot of people in the process, but they also said, oh yeah, this show's canceled too. We're not going to continue making Clone Wars anymore. And then they realized, oh, our new movies aren't keeping the fans. Oh, wait a minute, all these new ideas that we're putting out there, all these new characters no one cares about. Star Wars Resistance, not doing nearly as well as Star Wars Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebels did, right? And obviously Rebels, you could argue, was under a Disney production, but to me, that was that transition period where you still had some George Lucas influence because Dave Filoni was still very much closely, had been closely off of his time on Clone Wars, and so he had already been able to keep a lot of the knowledge and a lot of the mindset and a lot of the creative, ideas and activity, and I wouldn't be surprised if George Lucas had a hand in at least creating or crafting that story in some capacity. Even if he didn't, the influence would still be under the influence of Dave Filoni. But with all that being said, I look to the Clone Wars and I say, are we going to get to a point where we finally have actual brand new episodes that were not written previously, that do not have the influence of George Lucas? And if we get to those episodes, is there going to be a clear difference? And if there is it going to be enough for us to do like what happened with Game of Thrones Season 8, where all of a sudden we're like, ooh, this isn't the Game of Thrones that I've been watching for the past, 9 or 10 years. Ooh, this is not the series that I fell in love with. These are not the characters that I fell in love with. And that's what I'm concerned about. That's what I'm worried about. Now, because Dave Filoni seems to have most creative control of this series and of this show, as not just as a director, but also as a producer, I'm really hoping that that is not the case. But even though I'm excited for where Clone Wars goes from here, and I'm excited that we're getting at least one more season of Clone Wars and getting the completion to the story, it does make me wonder, is there going to be enough material for Star Wars fans to stay on after Clone Wars Season 7 ends? I don't think so. Because I can watch the Blu-ray versions of Star Wars anytime that I want. There are versions that are better than the versions that we had from Disney and the versions that we had even from George Lucas himself after he decided to play around with it, right? We have the despecialized Star Wars editions. We have Project, 4K77, 4K83, 4K80. that are actually in the process of doing 4K transfers of actual film reels of the original film before any cuts, before any edits were done whatsoever. And I have all of those films. I have all of those editions. So if I want to watch the original trilogy, I have it there. Then you also have other places like TNT and TBS, obviously they're under the same company, that still owns some of the streaming rights, right? Where they can still show it on their television stations at random times. So we have ways of watching the Star Wars that we love. I don't think there's enough at this point to keep us on. And I know, I'm always on that, I've always been on that train of hashtag, Duck Fisney. But at the end of the day, I want Star Wars to succeed. I want us to get great Star Wars stories. But you know what? If everything we're to see and to remember from the Star Wars High Republic nonsense that we got just a few days ago with that whiteboard going on and saying, oh yeah, diversity, 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 and dinosaurs, ooh, it's not going to be enough. So far, I've been loving what I've been seeing in Clone Wars. Let me know your thoughts. Have you been watching Clone Wars? Are you a fan of Clone Wars? What are your thoughts about it? Again, I personally love it. I love the clones, especially in the first 2 episodes, have had a very hyper focus on the clones, which I think is a great way for the series to start. But once again, these are all episodes that we would have already have gotten had Disney never taken over, right? Had the story been able to continue under George Lucas, which it was going to until Disney decided to can it, I think that's to be expected. But what are we going to get down the line? Is the quality going to continue, or is it going to drop off? Let me know your thoughts about that and all the things to talk about in the comment section below. Also, please let me know if you are subscribed to Disney Plus, or if you have any desire to subscribe to Disney Plus, and what your thoughts overall are of the service. I, of course, was forced to because my wife loves watching Boy Meets World, loves having access to all these shows, and happy wife, happy life. But you guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Please drop the like and smash the subscribe button, because it is the only way that we can keep things going on this channel. You guys are awesome. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless. And now to give a shout out to my February Patreon and Subscribe Star members: Animation Commentator Brian P., Dion, David Brobrizik. Please let me know if I need to repronounce that name. DivX, Elizabeth M., Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Weird Dog Clan, Harold Francis, The Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, Drop Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, Jeffrey Lebowski, JJ Jonathan Jerembeck, Kenneth Cameo, Lady T, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, Orange Hat Reviews, Outpost Dyer, Perpetual Punster, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, The DJD Show, and Tina B. And over on Subscribestar, Robert Revo, Larry, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, G2 Cool 99, Darkstar 57, Alice McCarthy, US 888-209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Hild Francis, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nebanon G. Adams, and ZK Man. Then a shout out to Riff Racer Request and Sir Lance Lato and Mike Jackson. You rock. Thank you very much for being my Patreon Subscribe Star members for the month of February. And if anyone else decides to join, at the next couple of days or so, I will add you into this list as well. You guys freaking rock. Have a wonderful one. And as always, God bless.